Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be going over my top creepy books that I have read so far. So I felt like this list was perfect for the season because we're right in the autumnal season, if you will, the fall season, and so with that season comes Halloween, and with Halloween comes scary movies, spooky vibes, creepy vibes. And so I wanted to go through a list of books that I find to be pretty creepy. Now, these are only through books that I have read so far. I'm sure there are other creepy books out there, and I will be asking, I'm going to ask you now, but I'll ask you again at the end of the video to put creepy books in the comments because I want more creepy books. I love being creeped out by books. It's like one of my favorite things when reading is to just get those like heebie-jeebie vibes. So I will be looking for those. But before we get into the list, I wanted to go over today's video sponsor. So today's video sponsor is actually the book Perils of Sea and Sky. So this is a new steampunk fantasy book and it sounds so cool. Let's go through the synopsis together because when I read this earlier, I was like, this sounds awesome, but I'm really bad at like summing up fantasy books. So this is what it says. In the early 1700s, the discovery of anti-gravity technology led to the development of the aeroship trade. But there is one area that no sky captain dares to venture, and that is the Grey Veil, an inhospitable fog threatening the lives and sanity of all who enter. With the veil under a strict travel ban, most level-headed pilots circumvent this treacherous place. Captain Roseanne Drakenhart, on the other hand, makes a pretty penny conducting her smuggling operation through the very edge of the mysterious fog. When she is blackmailed into searching for a lost warship, she is forced to venture into the untraversed bowels of the Veil. Roseanne must defend her crew from mystical creatures, defend against pirates gunning for her ship, and save herself from the creature known as the Forest Devil. Featuring Scandinavian myths and steampunk elements, Perils of Sea and Sky is a thrilling high fantasy adventure. Like, that sounds awesome. I am so pulled into that storyline. I love pirates, so that is even like more drawing me in. And yeah, I haven't really read too many steampunk books, but I do know that the ones that I have read that have had elements of steampunk, I really enjoy as well. So this definitely seems like one that I would put on the top of my TBR. I will put the information for this book in the description down below, so you guys can go check it out if you want to. All right, let's jump into the creepy books list. So I have a total of 7 books here. The first one, I feel like a lot of you guys are going to know what this one is because I've talked about it a lot, but that is The Haunting of Leigh Harker. I thought this book was super creepy and it went in a direction that I was not expecting. So that was really cool. And there was a lot of big twists in this book that I also wasn't expecting. So that was awesome because it's something that I love when I'm reading like thriller, spooky books. Like, I want there to be big twists in them. And this one had that. It also is just very atmospheric in itself. So the entire time when you're reading, like, there's a lot of moments that you're just like creeped out and you feel the vibes and you feel like somebody's like watching over your shoulder. And so yeah, it's just one to read. I feel like this is a perfect read to like sit on the couch while it's like raining outside, have a hot drink beside you, and just devour this book. A more fun one would be Through the Woods. And so this is a collection of different short stories in graphic novel format, and they all have very like ominous, very like dark endings. So that's kind of why I like it. It's creepy throughout as you're reading each graphic novel, and then when you get to the end result, you're like, okay, that's messed up. And that's perfect for a graphic novel format because they can show you that visually, which is a really fun way to kind of like take in that form of media and take in the creepy factor. So yeah, this one's a fun one. It's also a very quick read. Like, you'll fly through this. So yeah. And like the color theme of this book is very much like dark moods, which is awesome. Then we have one that I discovered from an author when I was just starting out doing book reviewing, and that is Blood Will Out by Joe Triggieri. I actually think this is the first book that I read on NetGalley, which is very exciting because I was very new to the app, and I saw a horror book on there called Blood Will Out. It had a different cover when I saw it on NetGalley, so this is like the newer cover, but oh my god, it was so creepy. I was like puzzling through this whole book trying to figure out what was going on, and my heart was pounding while reading this. You're following multiple perspectives in this book, and they definitely have very different storylines. We'll say that. That's all I can really say. I don't want to give anything away, but like this one captured me from the very beginning. One trigger warning for this book is there is animal harm in it. So if that is something that you don't vibe with, then maybe don't pick this one up. But other than that, you will definitely be creeped out and your heart will be pounding while reading this. I can guarantee it. Then we have Face of Evil, and this is by a fellow author friend, George. His last name is actually Death, which is death, which is really cool. Like, that's such a fun last name to have for a thriller author. So cool. But anyways, this one is following a character who is kind of like a journalist, and she is interviewing a serial killer in an asylum. And as she's interviewing the serial killer, things also start to happen outside of the asylum that kind of tie into what this serial killer is telling her in their interviews. And so there's kind of like a bigger event that's happening that she's trying to get like the bits and pieces to figure out what's going on. This one was also a very fast-paced book, and it had my heart pounding too. And the ending was definitely like a pretty good ending. I'm pretty excited to see what else George puts out, because even when I was reading this one, I was messaging them with like my different predictions of what was happening, and I was not right. Not even close. But I had some really wild predictions, and he was like laughing along the whole time because he thought they were pretty fun, the predictions that I had. But yeah, he did an amazing job writing this book. I was pulled right in and I could not put it down. So definitely has the creepiness with the whole, this is more creepiness with like the psychological thriller aspect to it. But yeah, it'll definitely mess with your mind. Speaking of messing with your mind, I'm Thinking of Ending Things is another book that is so creepy. This book is actually, it's more like creepy and uncomfortable. Like, it gives you that feeling that you're like, you don't want to be in this situation, and you're reading about the situation, feeling it all at the same time as like these characters. Even the movie, like if you watch the movie, they did really well with making you feel uncomfortable. I won't say the movie was amazing, because they changed up the ending a little bit, but I will say that they did nail the uncomfortable part, because I felt uncomfortable watching that movie. This book is actually very short too, so you can really fly through this one, and I guarantee this will have you like all turned around. When you get to the ending, you're going to be like, what the heck? And yeah, you think one thing going in, and then you get to the end and it's just a completely different story when you like think back on it. So yeah, definitely one that will give you the creepy vibes. Then we have Tell Me When You Feel Something. And so this one, if I can sum it up, is kind of like a medical thriller. So it reminded me of like a thriller with Grey's Anatomy in it. not like Grey's Anatomy to the point of the dramaticness of that, because it's a YA, so it's all like young adult characters. But there were definitely some things in here that were just like, whoa. Also, things that like, you know, in Grey's Anatomy, when they go kind of like out there, that was kind of like what this was, but also a very capturing book, and it kept you like wanting to read more and find out what was happening, because there's some dark and ominous parts of this book. So yeah, I was creeped out. Also, like medical stuff kind of creeps me out to begin with, because I'm afraid of needles. So I mean, I'm getting better, but every time I get blood taken, I pass out. So we're working our way up. But anyways, there was a lot of needles in this book, so that may be why it creeped me out. There were other things that creeped me out about this book as well. But yeah, it has the vibes. And then the last one I have on my list is The Only Child. And this is more just like a creepy child. That's the reason why it's a creepy book. It's a thriller book about this girl who escapes her house, but her parents both pass away in like the house fire. But then the girl ends up going to her father, who is dating the main character of this book. And so the whole book is told from the father's girlfriend's perspective. And so you're following along with her, getting to introduce this new child to their family. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of creepy things that happen. There's creepy children in this one. And yeah, if you guys watch lots of scary movies, you know that creepy kids are like definitely a thing. And this is one of those where they have a creepy kid in it. So all I know is this kid freaked me out, and like I would not stick around to like even talk with this child because they were scary. But anyways, yeah, it goes from there. So this girlfriend is dealing with this new child being integrated into her relationship, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are all the creepy books that I have on my top list as of right now. I'm hoping to add some more on there and maybe bump some of those ones off of there, but those are the ones I've read. So if you guys are willing, I would love to get some more creepy book recommendations in the comments down below. Anyways, if you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Coffee page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as linked by my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post some videos on Mondays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.